Sorry, I do apologise there. I just got cut off. I'll just put this as a part 2B of the video. Again, I do apologise. Yeah, so again, 12 billion in aid while we're sanctioning our claimants. So this is why we need to raise awareness for it. Now, when you do get sanctioned, you're going to have to come for what's known as a recoverable hardship payment. Now, recoverable hardship payments are I think it works at, what is it, 55% of your original award, including any housing costs. So if the standard allowance is £368, then I think you would probably end up getting about 200, roughly about 200, maybe slightly less than that, and any housing costs. But this is just another way they're looking to reduce the benefit bill. That's what it looks like to me. In fact, I would put everything I owned on that. That's why they're doing that, and why they're sending out these fake benefit recoveries and fake earnings. Because even if it is only it's only 8 weeks for someone that knows that's happened, or knows what to do with it, or they've got a decent agent that will actually put the payment dispute through. It's only, the 8 weeks only starts after that's been done. So I'll say it again, what's happening with the money in between that? And it isn't happening in all parts of the country, but it is starting to get rolled out to all, and it will roll out to all parts of the country. And it's the Hunger Games. It's one of the reasons for the asylums, and I will go into that in the third video. But when they call up for a recoverable hardship payment, it's so invasive, it's absolutely unbelievable. So what they started, at first, what you would do is they would call up and you would have to ask like 3 questions on, if they need, or 4 I think it was for rent, food, electricity and hygiene products. And then as of last summer, I think it was about July, August time, they started to basically put it all more and more onto us with regards to the hardship payment. In fact, we had to process the whole thing, rather than, the only thing we didn't process rather was the how much the claimant was going to get. That was done by their case manager. So they would call in, we would go through a 15-minute or a 15-20-minute rigmarole. At least that's what it would take most people. I shortened it down because it was nonsense, and I shortened it down as best I could. Excuse me. So they would call up, and the first thing I can't remember, I wish I'd taken a photo of this so I could remember, but I can't remember. But one of the first things that they would ask, you would have to ask them is, can you get any help from anyone else, like any family members? And inevitably they're going to say no, because that's why they're on the phone, because they've not got any help. And anyway, it wouldn't matter if they had help. Why the hell should their family be paying the living expenses that's already been done by the taxpayer just because you want to steal it from them? That doesn't mean to say that they need to go to their family to do it. Anyway, and then they start asking you to ask them, why haven't you got the ability to buy and store food and prepare food? Why haven't you got the ability to heat your home? Why haven't you got the ability to do this? Why haven't you got the ability to do that? Well, because they're bloody sanctioned, you absolute clod. I used to say that to them since when they say, look, can you ask them if they want any more help? I would say, and the reason that you're calling is because you've not got any more help, haven't you not, Mr. Mitchell, or whatever it would have been? No, I haven't. But there'd be so many people that would follow that process right through. And then they ask the first set of questions, and then those questions I just mentioned, you need to ask them again at the end of the process, along with a load of other nonsense in the middle of it. Very invasive questions, like one of them is, have you got any further costs that you can reduce? I mean, people that are on universal credit, I would imagine, that are anyone really, even people that are working, is not going to have any more cost to reduce. We're all cost reduction out, basically, because there's nothing else left to reduce. And they want us to ask them to reduce costs. People that have got nothing, that are sanctioned, oh, you need to reduce further costs. It's like they're phoning us because they've got nothing, and I'm asking them to reduce further costs. I think it's pretty obvious they won't have the lifestyle that's portrayed in the news. And this is another thing. I mean, there is people out there that have got a lot of benefits every month. It's mostly rent now. I'll go into that in a later video. But there is people that get extra. But anyone that says it's easy living and benefits, I'm not sure what world they're paying attention to, because from what I could see, it was just yes, there is people out there that haven't got as many costs, that have maybe 3 or 4 kids, and there's a benefit cap for that as well, although there's for some. But there is people out there that can make do. But with regards to they've got all this money and they're making more than me working, and it's just nonsense. It's utter nonsense, because most of it's rent. And a lot of these landlords, what they're doing is they're increasing rent to an unprecedented amount, because they know the asylum seekers are coming in and they're going to get it through the government, although the local housing allowance does stop that a little bit. And again, I've explained a little bit about what that is. I will do it again in the next video. But this is the kinds of things they're asking people to do. I mean, it's just, and they're asking us to do it. And that fella I told you about who'd said that everyone needs to be sanctioned because it's the national debt. I'd actually said to him some years ago, I'd gone through I don't know what it was, a spiritual awakening of some kind, but a couple of years prior to that, I took an interest in the Second World War. I actually watched Schindler's List, and the first time I tried to watch it, it was black and white. I thought, it's not for me. But then I managed to sit down and actually watch it. And even though you knew about the Second World War and all the rest of it, and we were taught about it at school, and the Holocaust, how bad it was, and it's just the inhumanity of it all, and I didn't actually start thinking about it until I watched this film when I was like 25, and when I watched it, the only thing that really, I mean, it was bad enough, but the only thing one of the things that troubled me was how the hell the German people and the world, I know the communications and networking wasn't the same back then, but how the hell they allowed this to happen. And I couldn't wrap my head around it, why a civil society like Germany in Europe, in 1930s Europe, could allow another race, another people from the human race to be pushed into an oven after killing them so inhumanely. And I couldn't wrap my head around it. Sorry, that was my Scottish coming through there. My head around it, and for years it baffled me. How could that happen? And I'd said this to this guy. I said, I actually get now why people can actually just overlook things. This is because after doing this job for the last year, it's shown me how many people can just take a blind eye or turn a blind eye. And I mean, I don't know if it's having any emotional effect on them at home. If it was, they'd do their job better. That's the way I see it. Because it was having I wouldn't sleep at night if I didn't do the job that way. That's I explained. That's why I don't follow compliance. It's why it's 0, because I need to sleep at night. And even if I didn't, people need help. We're not starving people in Britain in 2023. It's not happening. Not when we've got taxpayers and we're supposed to be one of the richest countries, which we are. It's just that we've got a group of people behind the government. Not the puppets in the government, the people behind them, who are hell-bent on stealing everything we've got. Now, if you're even considering going and voting for any politicians after watching these videos, then I'm afraid that your brain cells may have deserted you, because it's voting for them that's doing this. Now, I had it out. A family member said to me once that you can't complain. Well, she asked me, do you vote? And I said, no, I don't, because it just encourages them. And she proceeded to lecture me on to tell me how that I couldn't complain about the world or the state of the country or anything like that, because it's me not voting that's allowing this to happen. And I'd explained to her, I said, but it's actually you that can't complain, because you're the one that's going out and handing your vote out, or you're saying to these people, I don't care that people are going hungry, or we start wars for no reason, or we kill innocent civilians in other countries through foreign policy, or that we look at child abuse, I shouldn't have said that, this video will probably get thingied now, but look at inhumane things that happen to kids, and do nothing about it. And then still hand your vote in, because what you're saying, I know all that's going on, but I'm still going to hand my power over to you to say that you need to control this for me, because I'm not intelligent enough. So you're actually the one that can't complain for that. And obviously there was silence and it was not discussed anymore, but it's absolutely true. And you can't hand a vote over to a group of people who you know are telling you what you want to hear, and only what you want to hear, because as soon as they get what they want, they just go and do what they want anyway. So it's actually pointless. And my mother actually told me that George Galloway is telling everyone to go to the voting polls and mark I can't remember the option on it, but it's basically no confidence, everyone, because it's the only way to show them we've got no confidence. No, we're not voting. I mean, it's not even, the votes they get now is not worth anything anyway. I mean, I don't know how they still get in with the votes they get. It's ridiculous. It's like up here. I mean, we had Nicola Sturgeon up here. I mean, the last place I seen her, I mean, she was where she belonged, in the back of a police car. And I said to many people up here that that's where she belongs, and she's not to be trusted, because she's an administrator for this as well. So yeah, I mean, that when someone says to me that they've worked all their days and they don't need to, because I've told people about this, and that's another thing, it's in your contract that you're not actually allowed to discuss these processes outside. It's just as well I haven't got a contract anymore, but I have told people about this, and they just say, well, it's nothing to do with me, and I'm going to be working, and that's fine. That's good that you're thinking like that. But the amount of people that I'd spoken to on a daily basis who had basically said to me that they'd worked their whole life. There was one in particular, she'd worked her whole life, she had a brilliant job in finances and accounting, and she'd run into unexpected health conditions from, we'll call the apparent cure that was rolled out some years ago, 3 years ago now. I'll just call it apparent cure for the sake of the algorithms. And she ended up on a heart machine. And this is the thing with verification as well. You need to get to that job centre. They verify things, they don't give you your money. They're looking for any excuse at all to stop your money. But she couldn't get to the job centre because her carer or whoever it was that assisted her weren't around. So they had to get her to come to the house. But the problem was, she was on a heart monitor and her payment date was the next day. But with home visits, you don't get them for about 7 days. So at which point, and I had to fill out one of those forms I mentioned. I said, look, this person needs help. She's got about 24 hours left on her electricity. If she's not got it, her heart monitor runs out and she'll die. It's as simple as that. I mean, the sad thing is that after I send that, I mean, some work coaches come back and say, thank you, I'll deal with it, but for the most part they don't. But that's the kind of situation people are in, and that's not an isolated incident. That's happening all the time to people. So she couldn't get out to the job centre because she didn't have her carer, and her payment was due the next day, but she wasn't going to get it till she got to the job centre, but the job centre couldn't come to her for 7 days. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So I said, look, you're going to have to do something. I sent a nice big email, polite, saying, look, and explained the situation. You're going to have to do something for this person. It's as simple as that. And I would like to think they did, or at least I hope they did, because it means if they didn't, I'd like to think she would have had people in her life, but that's not the point. It just shows you how bad it's gotten when that kind of thing's going on. And I mean, I actually wish I wanted to do these videos back in October, and I wish I did. I was waiting for my holiday pay that I didn't get, and I got some of it, but I didn't get all of it. And I googled it. That's policy for them, so they're stealing from people as well. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And then you look at some of the work coaches as well. I mean, some of the vile work coaches I've encountered. They set appointments, right? So this was another common problem. So someone would have, let's say for example, they were going to get paid next Wednesday, and they needed an appointment before they would get that payment on like next Wednesday. They would need to attend an appointment before they actually got the payment. But what some of these work coaches are doing, they're actually setting the appointment for not just 1 or 2 days, but 2 and 3 weeks after the payment date. And I emailed, I don't know how many of them, to say, what the hell are you doing? This person can't wait 3 weeks for a payment. Why are you setting an appointment for 3 weeks after? Do you really think that these people have got the resources for 3 weeks after their payment date? Never ever heard back from any of them. But that's what they're doing, and if you are doing that, I would suggest that you complain about them. There is a complaints process. That's another thing. The amount of complaints I sent in for people, and I was given sent to these email addresses, and every single time it came back to say that, and I'm sorry about this to anyone I put a complaint in, it came back to say that it couldn't be delivered. So, and I'd asked several times what email address had to be sent to, and that was the one they'd given, and it came back when you send an email and the address is wrong, it'll come back with a mailer demon to say that it can't be sent. Well, that happened with every single complaint I put in, other than the first ones when I was still contacting work coaches, because what you can do is you can click on a work coach and it brings up their email address, and within that it's their superior and the department they work in, so you can actually email them. So I was doing that to begin with until I got disciplined for doing that homeless kid an application form to get them some accommodation. So this is the types of people they're working. This is the type of company they are. I mean, they give people disciplinaries for doing homeless bloody application forms, and then they don't give you your full holiday pay, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I absolutely worked my bum off there, and I was there every single day, and I put 100, and they can't even give you the bloody decency of giving you your whole pay. I mean, but I'm not bothered. I did say to them, I said, look, if that's going to be the cost of doing this business, that's absolutely fine by me. It's minuscule in comparison to it, so I don't really care if that's what it's going to cost me to do it. That's absolutely fine. And that was it. I didn't hear back from them, and I proceeded to do the videos. Unfortunately, I'd had an illness I'd ran into at Christmas times before Christmas. That's why I couldn't really do it, because I tried to. I just wasn't in the frame of mind for it, unfortunately. But this again. Sorry again for going off, but the work coaches, if you're having an issue with your work coach, you need to remind them that they are paid to coach you back into employment, not to handle your life. So if they're starting to handle your life and they're controlling, you need to complain about them. And I would look them in the eye and remind them of that. Look, where's your humanity? You're there to coach me back into employment, but here you're actually handling and thus controlling my life, and I'm not having it anymore. Do it in a non-violent, non-discriminatory way, and they can't say anything to you, because some of them are really, really bad. Like, and there was another guy, and I felt so sorry for this guy, and I'd do anything for anyone, and that, like, that's what you're paid to do. And the guy had phoned. He wanted to go across to Europe. I'm not going to say what country, because he'd probably be able to identify himself. To visit his family. He'd been here for 3 or 4 years. At which point he'd done a few life changes. He'd gotten married, had some kids. So there were some quite big milestones that he wanted to go back and meet his family, and to obviously meet his kids and his wife, etc. And then this his work coach had come in, and he was only wanting to go for 2 weeks. His work coach had then come in and said, well, you can't go because you've got commitments to keep by. And I'd said to him, I says, how long are you going for? He said, 2 weeks. I said, well, that's nonsense. That's absolute rubbish. I said, you can go as long as you're not going away for more than 4 weeks. You can go. Oh, she's telling me I have to stick to my commitment. So what I've done was, I said, don't worry about it. I filled out one of those forms. I emailed her and I put it for her attention. I said, look, this kid, he's going back. I said, it's not him that's paid for it. That's obviously what her issue was. She's obviously, look, you're coming from another country. You shouldn't be able to afford to do that. I can't go on holiday, so you're not going. That's basically what she was saying. And I hope she sees this, because she'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. And I emailed her and I said, look, this person's going home. He's wanting to meet his family, his wife's family, their kids. They've had kids. They want to meet their families for the first time. I said, when I was on Universal Credit or Job Seekers Allowance, there was such a thing as a holiday form. I said, I need that holiday form, or I need the document that replaced it. I need you to fill it out in this claimant's behalf, because he's going to see his family. And I would like to think he would have went. Now, 99 out of 100 agents would never have done that. They would just have said, look, your work coach has said, no, you can't go. But there's just absolutely no... There's one thing I can't stand, and that's authority figures like that telling people they can't do something positive. There's just no way I was standing for it. And I just got her told, I says, look, he's going, and that's it. And if you are having that type of issue, just remind them that you are, as long as you're not out of the country for more than 4 weeks, you can go. There's nothing to stop you. She was putting it across that he was having to basically to keep these commitments, but not if you're on holiday with a holiday form. Again, I don't know what document. It won't be the holiday form anymore. There'll be a document that's replaced it almost certainly. But whatever it was, I would like to think that she'd done that. But these are the types of people that they're employing to do this job. These are the people that's doing it, and this is why they're employing them, because they know that they'll do these inhumane things and lack compassion and empathy, and they'll go home at night, have a laugh with their families at the dinner table, and sleep fine after it. That's why they're there. And this is why they keep, as I said in the last video, they keep changing work coaches so that you don't strike up relationships, because you're not going to sanction someone that you've got a relationship with and you know their situation, so they change it. And 99 times out of 100, when they do change it, the person's on the phone to the helpline to ask what the hell's going on and why they've been given this work coach who is more or less the opposite to the one they had before. And I'd say to them, the only thing I can think of is and I'd give them that concept as to why they'd done it, because striking up relationships that's no good for them. They need everyone divided. All divided and fighting and arguing and hatred and jealousy and, well, I work and I pay for you, so why should I help you? We need to stop thinking like that. All that needs to go. And I'm going to go into more of this in the next video, which is, like I said at the start, it's going to be work capability assessments, limited capability for work, and asylum seekers, because they all do interconnect. The contents for sanctions and recoverable hardship payments, I appreciate maybe wasn't as long. I hope you've gotten from it. Or what you could from it. If there is any questions that you've got, you can leave them in the comments section. I'm also on Instagram. I don't mind answering your questions there as well if you want to follow me. And you can send me a message. That's absolutely fine. I'm available most of the time. And I would just like to thank the people who have watched the video and commented, saying thank you and to keep going. It really does give me motivation, and I really do appreciate anyone who tunes into this channel and thus my videos going forward. Your support is appreciated, and moving forward I'll try and give you as much truth as I can. I'm going to, like I say, go through every process with regards to this benefit system, because it does need to be dismantled, there's no doubt about it. And then obviously after that we can obviously see where that leaves us. I would like to thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you on part 3.